Making your way through work Monday takes everything you got. Then Monday night rolls around and you realize there's a shot. You're only 10 points away. All those times when your team had no fight, they're just so gosh darn frail. Then your star quarterback let another deep ball sail, and your third round pick bet on his team. Then go check out our strengths where everybody knows your pain, and they listen to complaints. You wanna be where you can see our bodies bring you no shame. You wanna go where everybody knows your pain.
Welcome into another episode of Dad Bod Fantasy Squad. It's just me and your boy Robbie. What's up, dude?
What's up, brother?
Not much. I know I was telling you, but to everyone else out there, been nonstop for today, which is new. It's a new feeling when you're in the work from home life. You know, you don't have that like driving back and forth to work sort of feeling. You work from home. And then if you have something, you have something. But like today was different for me.
Yeah, tell the people what you got going on.
Yeah, so we ordered a new couch for our living room, much needed. If you can, to the back, you may see a jumping cat, I'm pretty sure. To the back, there's our old couch, half of a sectional because our basement is tiny. Thanks to the new treadmill in the picture here too as well.
You use it a ton. Yeah.
I have been.
Hey.
Story for another day. So yeah, we get this new couch, much needed. We bought that one that I just showed you when we were first moving in together. Bought it cheap, got it at a warehouse. So it's been 5 years. It's seen its better days. Now it's a couch that was absolutely a nightmare to get into the basement, like disaster.
Should have called me.
It's not even like it went from one thing. So I get off of work at 6, busy day, eat. And then we're right to like, let's get this couch down here so I could get my notes and everything done. The legs, like the little stubs that go at the bottom, you can see it doesn't have any currently.
Yeah, you gotta take them off. Yeah,
that's fine. But they were the square that had screws that go inside, right? Mm-hmm. So you can't even see the screw top. You're just putting in a screwdriver and turning. I had 2 sides that were stripped, and they weren't just stripped from the screw, Robbie. They were stripped in the wood. And it was an absolute nightmare, dude. Like one of them I hammered off, and luckily it didn't break the wood, but we were willing to take that risk after spending almost an hour trying to get these off. And the other one was wrenched off. Wrenched. I think wrenched.
You got it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think it was wrenched. So
we're manly men, in case you guys didn't know.
Dad bod. It was a nightmare, dude. And we have a half of another couch. We thought we were gonna take it upstairs. We're like, we're not doing this again. This one's going. This one's staying. We're gonna keep half of a sectional, and then the other one's going to the trash.
Yeah, dude.
The good side too.
I have moved too many couches in my day. Way too many.
We moved every year in college.
Yeah. But it's different. It's different when you care about like the place you're in. You know what I mean? Like
we just messed up our door frame, and it's this feeling of guilt.
Yeah, it's so much because you have to pay for it, and like you got to fix it. You got to call the person to come out and fix it. Like it's so different.
Yes, I completely agree. You got to be gentle. Like even this is a basement couch, and I was like, we spent an hour trying to get him off, like without ripping anything, but by the end of it, hammer was coming out because it was just too much.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I hope you get your couch soon because I ordered.
It's Thursday.
It took me. I ordered my couch, and it took 10 months to get here.
What's up, Albert?
10 months. And it was
that in the heart of COVID?
Yeah, kind of tail end of like the heavy stuff. And it was that, but it was also like we had a delivery date set up. They canceled day of delivery.
Oof.
And it
I
was
hope that
like,
doesn't happen to us because
dude,
obviously we're already
I
making moves.
almost threw my couch away.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
like
you'd be just
garbage
sitting
day.
on the
I was
floor.
like getting
Yeah.
ready to throw my couch away. And then luckily I didn't, because it took another month to get here after that first delivery day. And then they canceled the second. It was a shit show. Like,
Yeah.
complete and utter shit show. But I hope you get yours in a timely manner, because I know the feeling.
1 week. I mean, unless they cancel on us, took
I
1
hope you
week.
get it, buddy.
Thanks, dude. Well, let's get into it. We promised ourselves we would have a little bit of a shorter episode. We'll kind of fly through this. No, we have no Norton with us today. He is on vacation, so we're gonna go fast. I am pretty tired for the night, so we just wanted to be here. We want to be here with
Speaking
you
of that,
guys.
I will be not here Thursday because I'm going on vacation.
Yeah, I have a surprise, but it's not confirmed yet. So I have a plan. Dad
What are you
bods, man. Well,
What are you doing?
let's just get wild.
All the
right,
fun
so
happens when I'm not here.
yeah. Monday Night Football. Pittsburgh versus the Indianapolis Colts. Let's go. I want Steelers won 24-17, where this game could have easily went into overtime. We saw Jeff Saturday and I was at this point, I was watching on my phone and I was screaming at my phone, call a timeout, call a timeout, call a timeout. What are you doing? And like, it's funny as when you're not a fan of something or you just want good games. And I always want overtime. I was sad about the Jacksonville one. I thought it was a great move by Doug Peterson, but I'm over there like OT.
And the Chargers.
So bummed when they go for 2 because no matter the outcome of going for 2, it's over. It's game over.
Yeah, there were a couple, man. I mean, there were a couple this week, and then Stefanski said he was going to go for 2, but he used his 2-point conversion play sometime else in the game and didn't have one to go to.
I think it's again though, Browns fan, I would be like, end this shit. But a fan of football, I'm like, I want all football, keep going. But then when it ends in a tie, it's really disappointing and disheartening. Anyway, so the score was 24-17. Steelers came out. I want to start with Indianapolis, but I do have something on Steelers as well. Paris Campbell was MIA.
Yeah.
After kind of having a heat streak, especially with Matt Ryan.
Yep.
But Jelani Woods arrived. No, I think his name is Kyle Granson.
Yeah.
And we've seen one other week with Jelani Woods and Matt Ryan. They looked good, but this was actually like a lot of targets. Nice little connection.
Yeah.
It looked good.
Yeah, man. I tight end position this year, I just don't know. Like we talk about it ad nauseum on the Monday shows, like constantly, because we just go over winners, losers, talk about tight ends a lot, and there's just like every other week, man, it's somebody has a great game and you anticipate them to kind of keep it going, and then they put up 2, and then it was somebody else this week, and it just is it's just a rotating mishmash of trash play from the tight end position. Like,
yeah, I was watching what you guys last night. I watched after though. I didn't watch live. And during the tight end conversation, I mean, it's absolutely true. It goes Kelsey tier 1, Andrews tier 2, and then tier 3 is actually smaller than you guys all talked about. But I think it's Goddard, Kittle, Schultz. Really, I think Schultz is tier 3.
I agree. I think Schultz is in there. I've said it a few times. I think Njoku has the possibility of getting in there.
Yeah, so and Njoku absolutely does, and I think it was
Freiermuth.
And this is something that I keep thinking too is like when he mentioned, he's like, I don't know how Watson and the Njoku combo is, and like, yes, I feel that. So I get that. That's my biggest fear because I always think it is kind of a quarterback thing, but it could also very much be an offensive coordinator, a head coach sort of thing. And Stefanski does love the tight end position, so that's what Njoku has going for him.
Yes, and it can also be. It can also be this player is just very good, so we're going to get him the ball.
Yeah, and I think they're
like I don't think Watson ever had a tight. I mean, he had okay tight ends, and they did okay, but he never had a legitimate like receiving tight end like he has with Njoku. Yeah. So I mean, if you look at it, he's probably number 2/3, like him and DPJ are probably very close as 2-3 in pass catching abilities.
Yeah, I think I want to say the biggest knock on I've ever watched with Njoku season after season after season is he's so big, he's so strong, and he seems to always come out with an injury every year. And like, look, I say that about a lot of people, and so, but to see him miss a couple of times this week, I was like, here we go again.
Yeah, I'm with you.
We are. I was about to say we are getting off the subject. So Jelani Woods and Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell, you're holding hope if you picked him up, right? You're not going to just drop him after his performance.
Yeah.
Jelani Woods interest you? Because I think what you guys mentioned last night is like anybody that has a good game, I'm going for it if I'm weak at tight end. If my tight end is Greg Dulcich, which it is, or Kyle Pitts was, I guess, I'm going for the Jelani Woods. Is it Jordan Akins?
Yes. So why don't we pause on that and we'll talk about it when we get to the tight end.
Good idea.
Waiver wires, and we'll kind of compare.
Pittsburgh side of things, Kenny Pickett and George Pickens seem like that connection is getting realer and realer. And even the Freiermuth and Pickett one, but that one's been a little bit strong from the get-go. But Pickett and Pickens, man, coming along.
Yeah, that was the draft pick of this year when Pittsburgh took Pickens. That was the one that I just threw something against my wall because I was like, it's just going to be, he's going to be a stud receiver and they're going to have him for the next 10 years and he's going to terrorize the Browns. So like right off rip, I loved him coming out of Georgia. I was screaming for the Browns to get him. But yeah, Pittsburgh's got him and I think he's a stud.
Yeah, I'm curious where Pickens is like ranked in your eyes in the wide receivers for Dynasty. Is he cracking the top 20 already for you?
I'd have to look, man.
He probably is.
To throw off the top, probably top 24 for sure.
Mm-hmm. He's past Deontay, I bet, for most people.
Oh yeah. I mean, Deontay, he's just a good player, but when he's got a quarterback that throws down the field more, he's irrelevant.
He's been rough this year.
He was really good with Ben Roethlisberger just because Roethlisberger can throw the ball 10 yards and he's not pushing it downfield how he used to.
No, I think Pickens, as long as Pickett keeps developing, which he's showing signs that he's getting better. I think he gets a lot of hate in the Pittsburgh community. Honestly, it's usually Pittsburgh fans that are calling for his head, not his head yet. Not excited, I guess is the word I'm looking for. They think they're going to be drafting somebody next season. Also calling for Matt Canada's head because he's a terrible OC.
That I get.
Let's get into some of our top waiver wires. And because we started talking about this, why don't we start at the tight end position?
Go ahead.
So, okay, so I'm going to read the list, and then I'm going to tell you kind of my approach with tight ends currently, because I wanted to chime in that whole conversation you guys had. Foster Moreau, you have on here, 46%. He's going against the Chargers.
This is ESPN.
I don't even know where to find these. So nice work. The Chargers not the best matchup, but we did see Kelsey put up 3 TDs against them.
Yeah, well, it's Kelsey.
Matt, not the country. House over here saying Canada sucks. Matt, not the country. It took me a second reading that. Hayden Hurst, 60% versus Kansas City. This is one of those ones like high floor, low ceiling sort of gets you your 6 to 9 weekly.
He's top 10 tight end right now.
And you guys talked about this last night. He's had 2 top 10 finishes.
Yeah.
But he's there.
He's not going to kill
playing.
you.
Yeah.
He's not going to put up 2.
Yep. Tyler Conklin, 34% versus Minnesota. I think this is an absolutely interesting one. But I am very biased towards the Jets right now. This is one of those, there could be some big upside here.
Yes. With Mike White coming in, it looks like he's going to play the rest of the season. I would anticipate. The QB change makes Conklin back in play moving forward. Like he was kind of out with Zach Wilson and we all saw what was going on. Now that Mike White's in there, I think Conklin could be a sneaky pickup and good play going forward.
Is that your favorite one?
We'll get there.
So you also have Juwan Johnson, 38% at Tampa Bay. I would bet you will see him dropped a ton this week. And if you do, and you're going to appreciate this, Robbie, go pick him up.
Thank you.
We expected him to not have any sort of. It's been Robbie's thing for a while. New Orleans locks down tight ends. I don't know why he didn't listen to his own advice last week.
I'm stupid.
But he played New Orleans. They locked down tight ends. They have all season. There was a couple of moments where Higbee had like 7 receptions on him or something silly. If Juwan Johnson is dropped, I think there's some upside there if you're weak at tight end.
Yeah, I think on average they give up 2 receptions a game, the tight ends. So, yeah, they're like, again, fade every tight end you can besides Kelsey and Andrews against New Orleans if they're playing.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be a big drop this week. Jordan Akins, 1% versus Cleveland. So we mentioned him a little bit earlier. I think he was 4 for 64 and a touchdown. New quarterback, Kyle Allen, came in. I think that's where you're like, let me see if this is a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think upside-wise, talking about upside with Conklin, I think the upside's with Atkins. With the QB change, I really do think. I mean, there were a lot of people high on him coming into the season as a pass catching receiver or tight end. He has the talent to be really good. If he has a young quarterback like Allen, that's going to look for an outlet like a tight end, it just makes sense, man. It makes sense that he could be a valuable play with some good upside.
I was trying to think of Kyle Allen's career, and it was in Carolina predominantly, but there was also a season in Washington, I think, in between.
I think you're right.
And there was a couple times I think he played with Logan. I'll come back with those.
Yeah, we got to look that stuff up. But it just
go ahead.
He's a less risky Allen. He's not going to take a ton of risks. He's not going to he's going to be afraid to mess up. And when that happens, they usually look for a tight end outlet, kind of shorter yardage passes, which will play into Jordan Akins.
I think that one is probably my favorite. Is if it sounds like it might be yours, but I do see your last note.
Well, Juwan, you know my love for Juwan Johnson. It's just I think this week he'll be fine with Tampa Bay. I think he's going to put up points, but then he's got to bye. So that kind of
top 3
in order: Akins, Johnson, Conklin.
And I think you're not necessarily saying, hey, I'm going Akins ranked higher than these 2 for the rest of the season.
Correct.
But I'm willing to put my waiver or my fab on this guy before the other 2.
Actually, speaking of one other player on this list that you did not mention, Danny Bellinger. He's coming back this week. So
he's back, baby.
With that,
there's nobody there.
Exactly. I know it's not great. With a mobile quarterback that can draw some attention, I think Danny Bellinger had nice moments in the early part of the season. He sat out. I think that helped him because he's a rookie. He can learn the playbook a little bit better. He'll be able to come in and just not have to worry about, getting acclimated. He'll be fine. He'll come in, has chemistry with Danny Dimes already.
Jones,
so
yeah.
I've always been a fan of him because I think he's really good. I think he's only owned in 1% of leagues. Like if you can pick him up and afford to stash him, I think he's a play.
Yeah, I don't think you want to get too risky about dropping somebody, but anybody that's you just found out got moved to IR. Allen Robinson comes to mind.
I'm dropping Greg Dulcich for him.
See, I think that's a little risky because you give yourself no backup plan, but I guess then Greg Dulcich is probably at the same level of waiver wire. Yeah. I did, and I want to put one more note on there. It's like Daniel Bellinger is coming back from injury, but it's not your ACL. It's not your broken arm. It's none of those things. He got hit in the eye. It may affect his vision when catching the ball, but like you got to think that he didn't really miss a step in a way. Like he's not gonna be. I wonder if it affects his vision. It could, but
I don't think they'd put him out there.
I don't either. And I think he's going to probably have a visor going forward.
He does. He's got I think it's a weird visor too. Like
I think all players should have visors.
Yeah, you said that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I just can't remember last time someone got punched in the face.
I know. I guess it doesn't
You know
happen.
what I mean? Like,
or at least just get like no, that would affect vision. Let's go to QBs. I know we're kind of bouncing around here. Your first on your list is Trevor Lawrence, 59% versus Detroit. I can't tell if that wow is from last week.
Yeah, I left it because it's still wow.
Mike White, 3% going against Minnesota. Look, you guys know I do my DFS lineup. He's my guy this week. I'm double. I'll do the double down. I think this is going to be a big game.
I like it. He's shown enough to me that he's definitely a viable quarterback in the league, and with the weapons there, he could be interesting down the stretch here.
He really could. I think everyone is cautiously optimistic about him. Cautiously. Jesus. As you can tell, my brain didn't want to do that for me because he did this last season, and House mentioned it last night on the show. He very much did this. He went off. There was talks about him being the next Tom Brady, came out of nowhere, and this guy just did this, and then he sucked. And I was real sad, but that's a different team. It's a way different team. He has more weapons to play with, a lot more weapons to play with, honestly.
Yeah.
Better defense. Like, there's just a lot of things that you make you go another year to develop. Like,
Elijah Moore is the third receiver on the team.
Yeah, compared to the number one.
Yeah.
I don't think Davis was there last year. He was in not Tennessee. Was he there?
He was there last year.
Was he? How long has he been there? 2 years? Is this his second year there?
2 or 3.
All right. Anyways, Deshaun Watson, 44%, going against his old team, Houston.
Yeah.
This should be, at this point, like, I understand if you didn't hold on to him for a whole year, but if I went to one of my free agents and saw Deshaun Watson out there, I'd be snagging him.
Yeah, I picked him up like 3 weeks ago in a league that I have Geno, so I'm comfortable. But the upside, his upside can catapult you into the playoffs and into winning.
It very much could. He's been a top 5, top 6 QB every year.
Yeah. Yep.
Points per game. Others to check for. David Carr goes against the Chargers. He's owned in 64%. Robbie, do you have a favorite on this list? Is it Deshaun?
Man, if I had to pick for this week, I'd probably go Lawrence.
For this week only.
Yeah, for this week only. For rest of season, I'd go Watson. Just his rushing ability and the upside.
Yeah. I mean, so you're saying if you only needed 1 week of quarterback, you would pick up Deshaun Watson.
I would, but I'm a Browns fan.
Yeah, so you're trying to be.
I'm stacking Watson and DPJ, baby, in every league.
No, it's good. I really like Mike White, but again, in 1 QB leagues, it's hard to even say
it's hard
over the other 2 guys that you mentioned. I would do it over David Carr.
Starting him, like picking him up, I get. Starting him this week is risky. Just because you got to see it again.
DFS play.
Same thing with Watson, though. It's like it's very risky playing him.
Yeah, but this is against Houston.
I know.
I've been thinking about
Stingley out too.
I didn't see that.
He was out last week or this week. Yeah.
Let's get to some RBs. Probably one of the best weeks for RBs.
Not bad.
I think there's a couple. The top 3 that you have right there, and then you have others to check for, and then okay, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Zonovan Knight. 0% owned, because who the hell is Zonovan Knight?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
He was an undrafted rookie. I read an article about him last night. They were expecting him to go in the mid rounds. He went undrafted. The Jets picked him up. This is the reason James Robinson was a healthy scratch.
Yeah. or not cut, but yeah.
It's pretty wild. He said, we need a spark in our offense. And guess what?
He got the spark.
He got the juice.
Yeah, dude, he looked really good. Carter's dinged up. It's questionable if he's going to play. It seems like it's probably going to be a game time. And even if he does play, I've said it a couple times here, ankle injuries like that, when it's a game time decision, even if he plays, he's not going to get the full workload.
Yeah. And like, I think the things to be cautious about, you got Ty Johnson. You have James Robinson. Who knows if that was a 1 week thing? You have Michael Carter, who's not necessarily rolled out already. So, like, don't get too crazy. But he's definitely somebody I would target.
Yeah, I mean, is it unrealistic to think that he starts getting snaps over Michael Carter?
I mean, if Michael Carter was healthy, I
think they've shown their cards with him, right?
Well, they were doing 50-50, I think, before he went down.
With Brees. But then they go. Okay. That's why I just think that they aren't a big fan of Michael Carter. They draft Brees. They bring in.
I think Robinson. They are a fan, right? I think they view him as pass catching,
like a third down back, right?
Yeah, that's definitely how they view
he's not going to get the full workload.
Yeah,
and getting someone owned in 0% of leagues this late in the season that has the potential at 50-50 split, it's rare.
That is if it's a 50-50. And like I'm being just I just want to kind of be devil's advocate, right? Like what if James Robinson comes back and then it's 25-25?
I'm more worried about him, honestly.
James Robinson, probably, because maybe something happened in practice. And Ty Johnson didn't look bad.
No, but Zonovan looked better.
Jermichael Hasty, 0% owned at Detroit. You know, the 0% owned on ESPN is kind of wild, but not like I'm a big ETN owner.
I put 0%. I put 0% when there's like 0.5% owned, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. I'm kind of surprised it's as low as Knight pretty much. I think this is another good pickup, dude. Like ETN hurt his foot. It's kind of weird. They said he was okay to come back to that game. They were cautious. And then Hasty kind of looks great. And he actually does way better in the passing game than I've seen ETN do in a long time. It was weird. It was. That's what we thought ETN was. And I was just watching that game like, these are all my ETN scores. What's happening?
Yeah. Was it the same foot that he had Liz Frank on?
I have heard mixed things about this. They taped up his right foot. His left foot was the one that he had Liz Frank on. But then it sounds like they were just being like later reports saying it was his left foot. I don't know, dude. I don't know. But he said he should be fine. There was another guy that played with that same sprain and he just got ruled out. Actually, let's talk about that person right now. You have it as a question mark. Benny Snell. The thing about Benny Snell, I think Jalen Warren, because Jalen Warren's probably nearing his return.
Probably. You'd have to see, like, you know, it sucks because it's today, waiver wire and stuff like that. Try to get a gauge on if Warren's gonna play. And try to get the backup in Pitt because it's a big possibility Najee might not play.
Did they say anything more about his? Do you know? I'm going to try to pull it up right now.
His abdominal injury. They didn't really specify from what I saw. House, any update?
I bet you nothing yet. But here's what I would do with this situation. If I find out he's out for at least 2 weeks, and obviously more, I'm not going for Benny Snell. I don't care about the week that he gets to start over Jalen Warren because I think Jalen Warren is at minimum a week out, or I'm sorry, at most a week out. And they don't care about Benny. Like Benny is just they like Jalen Warren. They don't really care about Benny Snell.
Yeah, that's a good way to approach it. Also, kind of gauge how hurt Najee is. You know, it all kind of factors together when you're going after one of these backups.
Yeah. Gus Edwards, 43% owned at Denver this week. Donta Foreman just put up 100 yards against this defense.
Yeah.
They're not a bad defense, but if they can't score.
Bradley Chubb was a big loss, man.
And if they're just on the field 95% of the game.
I think he's the number one defensive end against the run.
But they're out there all the time. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's both those things, obviously. You're right. You're absolutely right. And then they're out there 80% of the game.
Yeah. I'm just saying, from like the beginning of the season to now, I don't think it's the same defense.
I got you. Same rush defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if he's out there, which in most competitive leagues, I don't think you're going to find him. And then Samaje P. Ryan, 49% owned at Kansas City. Others to check for Rachaad White, 66%. I don't expect Rachaad White to be out there in many leagues.
I doubt it.
Lenny might be returning this week, maybe. And then Samaje P. Ryan is one of those you may see Joe Mixon back this week.
Yeah, I still think he has some standalone value, which is why I put him on the list. Moving forward, I think you could do a lot worse than playing him if you're in a pinch. And you never know with a concussion what's going to happen. I mean, he's trending in the right way, but we saw it here in Cleveland. Denzel Ward had a concussion. He was out a month. It's day to day.
I think you kind of pick him up. I guess I wouldn't have him that high on my priority unless I am a Joe Mixon owner. I don't think.
Yeah, I think if you're a Joe Mixon owner, he's going
new adult dating.
Yeah, we are getting spammed I think it's always Tuesday.
It has happened on this episode before.
Yeah, maybe it's because it's a later podcast. This is
late night chat.
Yeah. This is the risque podcast.
I always like the bots thing confuses me because I'm always like, what if it's not a bot? What if it's just somebody that's going in streams and but I also don't even know what they're doing. I guess that's the website.
Promoting his business.
Yeah. Wide receivers. We'll go through these a little bit quicker. Treylon Burks, 38% versus Philly. I think he should be owned. I think this is a tough matchup.
Yeah, he should be owned in every league.
He should. He's been looking great.
Yeah.
I love when he's short guy Jair.
Back-to-back weeks over 20 points, I believe. Like,
he recovered that fumble with TD.
I know. It was fluky, but I mean, he's good.
Yeah. DJ Chark, I love this one because I've been seeing him in a lot, and he's not projected a lot, so he kind of gets buried on the ESPN app. He was really involved, and Jameson's not back yet. Or
he was involved early in the season too.
He was.
I think you could do a lot worse than DJ Chark picking him up. If you need like a flex spot, like I think you could do a lot worse.
Donovan Peoples-Jones at 44% versus Houston. This is your favorite one, right?
He's been my favorite for 3 weeks in a row. Hopefully people have been listening. Not a great week this week. It was he did all his damage in the first drive. It was really weird. It was a tough game overall for the offense, but again, Watson's back. They're going against Houston. If Stingley plays, I think that only ups DPJ's value. This is a week I think we'll see what I've been saying.
It's time. Chase Claypool, 56% versus Green Bay. Darnell Mooney out for the rest of the year. Somebody's got to catch passes here.
Yeah, that's why he's on the list. Green Bay's a tough secondary to go against. But Claypool, St. Brown, somebody's got to get something. Someone's going to get involved.
Be funny to see Claypool just tear up on Green Bay after they try to get him.
Yeah, I mean, what if he just goes off the rest of the season and make House look stupid?
Uh-oh. Nico Collins, 11% versus Cleveland this week.
9 targets this week.
This one actually is a scary one for me. I think Cleveland's secondary has been playing better, dude.
They have.
Outside of the slot, they can't guard the slot still. And I don't know what Collins runs out of. I doubt it's the slot.
Newsome was hurt early, so it's a backup. I think an undrafted rookie was in there.
They could not guard Godwin, but Mike Evans got locked down, and they've been locking down the 1-2s.
Kind of more of a rest of season play for me, just with the new QB change up. Like, let's see what happens.
Yeah, they're just he was mic'd up, and I think I was watching Inside the NFL, and he's kind of a goofy dude. He's funny to listen to. Quez Watkins, 1% at Tennessee. Tell me about this one, Rob.
3 weeks in a row over double-digit fantasy points.
Really?
Yeah. Seems like
That's flying under the radar.
He's got a really nice connection right now with we did not Felix.
He wants to know about Richie James.
Yeah.
We'll talk about him here in a second.
I want to say 3 weeks in a row with a touchdown. I could be wrong. It seems like he's got a really good connection right now.
Goddard went down?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Goddard's out. He's got a good connection with Jalen Hurts, especially in the red zone. Again, this late in the season, getting someone high-powered offense that's going to be in the red zone a ton. They're looking at him in different ways there. I like it a lot.
I think that's such a sneaky one, Rob. I think that's a great call out. Sky Moore, 17% at Cincy.
Not a good game this. Did he got hurt this week, right? Was that last?
Hurt.
Was that last week?
Did he get hurt at all? I don't.
I'd have to. Again, not a great game this week, but I think he'll be
the
fine.
Rams. They were up the
Rams.
whole time.
I think he had a ton of targets.
He had 6
targets in this offense with Patty Mahomes throwing you the ball.
Just going off the top of my head.
Still in.
I got to check myself now. It was 6 targets, though. Yeah, 6. 5 for 36.
Okay.
Out there, 46% of the snaps, the highest of the season. 42% last week, 46 this week. He's back-to-back weeks of 6 targets. And obviously, others to check for. George Pickens goes against Atlanta. He's actually in and out of my DFS lineups. Richie James, though, Felix just mentioned him. Let's talk about him, and then we'll wrap this thing up. I always compare Richie James to Kadero Hodge.
Interesting.
That is my favorite comparison, and it's not necessarily their play style. It's more or less that Kadero Hodge seemed to have really good hands, and then that was the extent of it, right? Like, he catches anything that's thrown to him, and then it's just, that's it, play over.
Yep.
Richie James is the exact same, and I think he is definitely worth a stash. He's not starting for me. The Giants face Robbie.
Washington, Philly, Washington.
Oof. And Washington's defense is turned around.
Yeah, they're really good.
It doesn't show it. Like, you'll look at Washington going against Washington's secondary. He's like 20th against wide receivers. Look at the last few weeks. They've been pretty good.
Then Minnesota and then Indy.
Minnesota and Indy. Minnesota would be fine.
Minnesota's fine, but Indy's tough. It's just tough, man. It's tough counting on them. Danny B's back.
Yeah, I guess that's like a huge desperation play if you're going to have to plug in Richie James.
Yeah. I like other players on this list.
But it's hard to even think the Giants can do anything. So you have to think that comes from somewhere, which it's Richie James, Daniel Bellinger. Daniel Bellinger isn't going to get 200 yards a game, Rob.
You're right. It's a fair point. He's owned in 1% of leagues.
Richie James is, huh? Yeah, those 3 matchups are not going to be fun, though. Washington, Philly, Washington. Anything happens in division, though, could be different. No Dynasty talk today. We will probably be back on Thursday for some Dynasty talk. And right now, I don't want to promise this, but I got Fridays off till the rest of the year. So I'm thinking I might just do maybe my solo DFS, do what Rob did early and get a Friday episode. Rob, of course, you're welcome to join, but I think
maybe I'll hop on.
Are you going to be back Friday or no?
No, not this week, but
okay.
Moving forward, maybe I'll hop on with you.
Yeah, the rest of the year. We could talk about that. So Dynasty talk, I think we'll move maybe to Thursday. Well, I think Dynasty for sure will happen on Thursday. Just don't know if that's the start of the show or the back of the show. Robbie, we'll see you Monday.
I'll be back Monday.
Nice. You'll have to send me your DFS lineup.
I could do that.
I think I have a golden one right now.
Of course.
Prime. prime to win.
Say it every week, don't you?
This one feels right.
Okay.
It feels right.
Hey, I hope you win.
I've been hoping I'd win every week too. I did, however, destroy the showdown on Sunday night, and at one point was 6 points away from first.
How do you finish?
I made money, but it wasn't 6 points from first money. It was the minimum money, I think. I had it in 3 lineups.
At least
$20, made 38. I think that's what happened. Was the cutting out?
a little bit.
All right. How about now?
You good?
If you're not already following us on Twitter at DadBodFS, we'll also post our videos to DadBod Fantasy Squad on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. We'll post all the recordings of tonight's episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Robbie?
All the major streaming platforms.
For myself, for Robbie Bobby, peace.